Well, here I've been prompted tonight to make another wee video. By the way, this is in the background as I'm in the sitting, or should I say standing, in my living room here in Armagh. I have had the wonderful privilege of obtaining the residence in a magnificent apartment here, which abuts I'd say abuts is the word I use, but it joins and is part of as you can see in the background, the wonderful grounds of Armagh Cathedral. I'll just move it around there. You see where we have the gardens in the background there, and the graveyard up behind it. So I'm not sure if you can see the graveyard, but you can see it there now. And anyway, I had made a mistake a few weeks ago when I was talking to my grandson when he was staying over, that he realised when he was out there playing badminton that I asked him, were you playing it among the graves? And he was quite shocked to learn that we actually lived with a graveyard as part of our surroundings. But anyway, the reason that I was prompted tonight to make this little video is the fact that my friend Peter McNeil sent me a little WhatsApp earlier, and he mentioned the fact that did I recall the days of the flickering dial on the radio as you turned it around, And I immediately came back and told him that I clearly remembered as a child, when I was quite young, that we used to listen, I think it was called the Light programme then, much pre the era of Radio 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And it was called the Light programme, and we used to listen as children to this wonderful programme called Larry the Lamb. And this guy, who obviously was an actor, and he used to speak like a lamb, and he talked like that, with the the reverberation of a lamb in his voice. And that was encapsulating as a child. It really was. It drew us in. And then later on, as you grew a wee bit older, the stories and children's programs were very educational, but they were also these things. And I remember specifically, my father died when I was the age of 13, and I came home from boarding school, and it was around the end of November when he died. And of course, in those days, you didn't go straight back to school after the funeral. You were kept home because there was this momentous thing that had happened in your life, and we were kept at home until I was kept at home until I went back to school after the Christmas break. And during that month, my beloved sister Maura, or known as to some of you as Mary, but Maura to me, she looked after us and cared for us for that whole month during November to December in 1966 was, right when I was 13. And it was an horrific month. There's no other way of putting it. But in the afternoons, she turned on the radio for us, and we listened to these wonderful stories from children's radio on what would have been the Light programme in those days, and they were fabulous, and they reminded me so much when Peter created this thought pattern within me tonight. And it brought back that wonderful description the Danish use of Hygge. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not, but Hygge is this wonderful, nostalgic, warm feeling that's created by your surroundings and by the time and by everything that's happening at a particular moment. And those were Hygge moments for us during the course of our mourning for our father who had left us. And I will never forget them, because they now resonate within me and are part of me. And they helped me, and I'm sure Donna and Aideen and who were with me at the time, to get through those very, very difficult things. And I'll always be indebted to my sister Maura for being there for us during that very, very difficult period in our lives. And then, when I go back to boarding school, the radio story didn't end there. I then recalled these amazing evenings and, well, nights when I had my little tiny transistor radio. No such things as headphones in those days. You held it under the pillow in your dormitory, and you hoped to God that neither the priest nor the prefect were going to hear your little radio going off in your ear. And how magical it was to hear this music being broadcast from this wonderful little place in the middle of Europe called Luxembourg. And Radio Luxembourg, I mean, it was just pure magic when you think back on it. This thing, and we were listening to the hits and whatever, and being kept in touch. And it was our only contact with the outside world, because you were in boarding school from one end of the term to the other. We weren't weekly boarders. We went in there in September, and I think we got a slight break maybe between that and Christmas of maybe one weekend or something like that. But it was 3+ months of total isolation and thing from the outside world. So this was just our connection with that outside world, and we were able to talk to the day boys and be somewhat in connection with the world that they were already a part of. But when you were in a boarding school, you were in total isolation, absolutely. And I'll not go into that now, but I've many other stories about my boarding experience, which I'll be happy to relate at some time later on. But I just was told off earlier by my sons in our own little group about how my videos were too long and people only had attention spans of 15 seconds, and they came down on me really hard about me putting out these long videos. And so I actually suggested that we change the name of the group to Dad Bashing. So anyway, on that note, I'll leave you, and thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this further little video. Thank you. Good night.